Good morning, and welcome to the Agorà Intelligence Briefing. I'm Adam, and we start right away with the story of the day. The wait for cancer surgery is growing across all 6 tumors studied. Saga opens the table with the numbers from JAMA surgery.
Thanks, Adam. I'll start with a date and a number. In the 2012-2015 period, a U.S. patient with breast cancer waited 34 days for surgery. In the 2022-2023 3-2-year span, that same wait rose to 45 days. Colon went from 20 to 31 days. The study appears in JAMA surgery and rests on more than 2.7 million patients between 2023. Times are rising for all 6 tumors analyzed: breast, colon, lung, pancreas, stomach, esophagus. More and more patients cross the thresholds of 30 and 60 days. The cause lives inside a success. Centralization toward high-volume centers improves outcomes and creates bottlenecks. The ones who pay most are patients who lack insurance, earn low incomes, and travel greater distances. The researchers point to 2 direct levers: added capacity and optimized scheduling. This is a scheduling problem. It stays awkward to stay inside a system that keeps advancing clinically.
Bottlenecks. Saga closes with that image. Cato. Does whoever owns the bottleneck dictate the outcome?
Exactly, Adam, and history teaches it. In 1904, Standard Oil controlled roughly 90% of U.S. refining capacity. It owned the choke point. Competitors became customers, then dependents, and finally got absorbed. Today, the bottleneck is compute. Grok raised $350 million at a valuation of $3.5 billion, down from $6.9 billion the previous September, with expected participation from Nvidia. TechCrunch reports it on August 17, 2026. Nvidia supplies GPUs to CoreWeave, Lambda, Nebius, and Grok, and invests in them at the same time. Grok was born to challenge it on inference with LPU chips, and now it runs Nvidia systems in 13 data centers, serving more than 6 million developers. Diversification among neoclouds is an illusion. Everyone depends on the same supplier. Grok aims to grow from 54 to more than 200 megawatts in 2027. I judge that target out of proportion to the capital raised.
Depending on the same supplier, it's a form of lock-in. Nova helps us here with a partnership that builds another kind of hook.
Thanks, Adam. Lock-in is exactly the heart of it. On August 17, 2026, Ternium Technology Group, ticker TGE on the Toronto Exchange, announced an OM agreement with GetVocalEye. Conversational voice technology enters the company's global channel ecosystem inside the technology as a service portfolio. Ternium gains global rights to distribute the voice engine across its own network. Integrating A-Voice into D1 bundles creates a gradual lock-in and shifts the competitive axis from connectivity to intelligence applied to voice. The ones feeling price pressure are pure CPaaS vendors, UK's operators, and regional system integrators. I'll add a prediction: watermarking and provenance of A content will become B2B contractual requirements within roughly 18 months, driven by legal pressure from clients ahead of regulation. Voice becomes the new stake.
Watermarking and provenance as a contractual requirement were already inside security. We talk about it with Leon, who breaks down the gap to close.
Hi, Adam, and the gap is wide. An iSystem designed 16 working bacteriophages. Meanwhile, the U.S. federal framework for screening nucleic acid synthesis remains without a replacement 15 months after an executive order, according to Medical Daily. The security posture of iSystems travels 2 or 3 years behind traditional infrastructure and repeats the deploy first, defend later pattern. RAT architectures treat retrieved documents as trusted input. A single artifact suffices to hijack an agent. Multi-agent systems lacking a circuit breaker fail in a cascade. A positive signal exists. On August 13, 5 researchers published on Arxiv-Hard, a framework for self-evolving runtime defense at the harness level. It remains an academic contribution far from production-grade maturity. Procurement should demand independent benchmarks with declared datasets and versions.
Independent benchmarks with declared versions. That's exactly Mira's terrain. Let's hear her evidence.
Thanks, Adam, and the evidence says benchmarks deserve suspicion. Fabricio F. Costa published on August 14, 2024, classified a frontier I measurement. The work, Arxiv 2608-2008-2029-23, builds a record frozen as of August 12, 2012, 2020-13, 62 systems, 12 version benchmarks 2014-2023, classified events 14 typed relationships. Just 7 systems jointly report training compute and the meta-task horizon at 50%. Compute is absent for 19 of the 27 closed systems. 73.2% of substantial quantitative events, 52 of 71, come from a single measurement program, and 76.1% are lab releases. A review of 56 sources finds 16 complementary measurement directions. A single substitute scalar for evaluating production performance is missing. Blind trust in numbers stops here.
A single scalar is missing, and when the measure changes, the verdict changes. Atlas's point starts right here.
Thanks, Adam. The measure decides the verdict. On August 14, 2014, 14 researchers filed on arXiv a work titled Assert. It describes a measurement pipeline for audits of generative AI systems. The demonstration is sharp. The compliance rate of an audit shifts substantially as the measurement choices vary. 4 factors move the reported rate and reorder the rankings among systems: dialogue setup, simulated user, judging evaluator, and the proof threshold for divergence. Assert ties each rate to a written specification, and so the differences between audits become attributable and verifiable. A rate lacking a documented specification remains a claim, far from evidence the board can use. Effective governance calls for a named role, responsible for the measurement specification, in writing, ahead of deployment. The rule comes before the number.
A named role ahead of deployment, governance looks to the board, and Vera's gap reaches the board too. We ask Vera to tell it.
Thanks, Adam, and I bring the board 2 numbers. According to Cornerstone and Hoare Executive, as of August 2036, 94% of leaders declare a clear impact from their investments on the workforce. 17% of people feel fully ready for the expected role changes. The same gap read from 2 sides. Readiness is an organizational condition designed by leaders, distinct from tool adoption. Bot-sitting, the passive supervision of AI output, is a symptom of a poorly designed workflow and a failure of change management. Converting internal talent beats external recruiting, and the 56% salary premium on AI skills makes building internal capability urgent. The gap between declared impact and perceived readiness is the human capital metric to follow. As in Saga's operating rooms, capacity gets designed ahead of time. Readiness is added, capacity applied to people.
Capacity gets designed ahead of people and patients. That's the thread tying together today's whole table. That's all from Agorà Intelligence. The full texts, with every source cited, stay at agoraintelligence.com. Subscribe to the podcast. Every morning at 7, the new episode waits for you. Thanks for listening, and see you tomorrow.